Hey class, happy Friday. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I just wanted to pop in on this Friday and commend you for a job well done in the discussions as well as the papers. I'm grading the week week two discussions right now. I know we're off, we're in the middle or towards the end here now for week three in our discussions, and I just wanted to commend you for a job well done. Interesting discussion this week. This is often one of the busiest, more active discussions that we have in the class. Historically, our discussion of the Bayless CPR case. We have this case where an administrator has a resident, can't really call him a patient because it's an assisted living facility. They have this resident. He finds her. She codes. She has passed away, or she finds her, I should say, and cardiac arrest. And so she calls 911 and says, "Hey, just to let you know, here's what's happened." The emergency medical dispatcher, who's trained, nationally certified, haven't been one. Some of y'all been one, and maybe now, nationally certified to give these instructions to the caller, and it says, "Hey, I need you to do CPR. I'm going to walk you through it." And this administrator, who's also a nurse, says, "Nah, we're not doing that. It's against policy. I can't touch the patient. Just send somebody out here. My job is to notify. It's not to do anything with the patient. And so, no, I'm not going to follow your instructions." And again, the emergency medical dispatcher, who is trained to banter the patient, if you will, to really try to convince them that they need to follow their instructions to help this person. So, doing everything they can. And the administrator says, "Still not going to do it. Just send somebody. It's against company policy. I'm not going to do CPR. Have a good day. Bye." So everyone shows up. There's some people upset about this. EMD certainly is upset. It's not the first time, I'm sure, that this emergency medical dispatcher has experienced this. But I would imagine that, just like every other case, emergency medical dispatcher, they're upset about it. Hey, this lady is a nurse and she refused to the CPR. Now I don't know if it was a new emergency medical dispatcher or whatever. All that's beside the point. The point being is that this individual refused to do CPR. Now, based upon company policy, the company policy says we don't do patient care. We're not licensed for that. All we do is we assist them. Make sure they get to the doctor, get their medications, check on them. May or may not clean the house. We can tell them at their medication, it's time to take their medication. Here, Miss Johnson, or whatever. Here's your meds. But they can't do anything else. We can't do any patient care. We're not licensed to do that. It's more of a facility like a condominium, an apartment where somebody just kind of comes in, checks on the elderly, and that's it. We're not going to do anything else. So, we're taking our look, our job this week is to really look at that, examine, and decide whether or not there's anything unethical about what she did or illegal. And we have found that no, there was nothing illegal in that state law. There's really only one state that requires you to do something to assist a patient. So we see that in this case, there's no state law, no federal law that requires her to act. She can't be charged with anything. She didn't abuse the corpse. She didn't steal anything. She didn't do anything there. Apparently, so we can't charge her with anything illegal in this particular case. The officer has to come and investigate, take his notes, get some information on medical background with this patient, the patient's history, or resident, I should say, and there's just nothing that they can do about it, just nothing that they can do legally. We can't charge her in this case, and that's a choice that we get to make as an officer. Do we charge her or do we not? If we're going to charge her, what are we going to charge her with? We need to make sure that we really understand what the law is and have some good idea about charging her. There's probably some old law out there on the books that we could charge her with, but it's probably going to get kicked out. So we need to really establish what we're going to do there. Do we turn it over to the detectives, let them make a determination? Do we turn it over to the facility that licenses this residential care facility. The boss has already said, hey, that's the rule. Apparently, there was some misunderstanding. I think to save some face there, the facility owners or managers said, she misinterpreted the rule. So again, I think that was probably, just to save a little bit of face with the public there, because it may not be illegal in a court of law, but the court of public opinion is something that is totally different. That's totally different. That court of public opinion, you'll learn that as you move forward, especially if you're working in law enforcement, if you're going to be an attorney or whatever you're going to be doing. The court of public opinion is a huge, huge deal, and I'm sure they probably lost some business over it. And in other cases, they may have gained some business because people know, hey, this is where we send people. It's an assisted living facility. They're elderly, and people are going to pass away. What about the ethical part there? Many of you shared your opinions on that as to whether this was ethical or not. I think I even saw a couple of comments on the thread that, hey, had she performed CPR, that'd been unethical because she'd been violating the rules of the facility. The job told her, this is all that you can do. So if you do anything else, that's violating the rules. But we have this case where she's a nurse. Now, I think in this case, I don't think she's an RN. I think she is a licensed vocational nurse, an LVN, which is lower down. Some states call those LPNs, licensed practical nurses, but she's still a nurse. But nevertheless, she has, she's a nurse, and that's the case. And I think that's important, but what type of nurse she is doesn't really matter. I think the fact is she's a nurse. Had this person been an EMT paramedic, had they been a respiratory therapist working part-time, CNA, whatever, I think it's important to note that this person does have training. They recognize the fact that this person is in cardiac arrest and that they have the training to perform CPR. Now, statistically, is that going to make a difference? Is a person going to survive? Well, statistics are not necessarily on our side. But I think, again, those are things that we can't even think about. We've got to either decide whether or not it was ethical or unethical in this particular case as to whether or not she should have performed some care. She could have done something. Now, she could have gone through the motions and said, hey, I tried to do some CPR. Ambulance crew could have got there. Now, we're not in the business. The important thing in most states, almost all the states, EMT paramedics, we don't get to pronounce. For example, I've been an EMT 25 years, and I don't get to pronounce. Now, I can look at a patient and tell whether or not they're dead, but the law says I can't pronounce. Depends on the state. Most states, only the coroner can pronounce, or a physician. The coroner is not always a physician. Not like in my state, most of them are EMTs, paramedics, or police officers who have got some training. They've got elected as a coroner, and but they're the ones that legally get to pronounce in my state. And you might research that in your state and just find out who does the pronouncing in your state. Who can do that? And in this particular case, but the EMT paramedics get there, they see her do CPR while she's doing CPR. Now they got to act. Their protocol likely requires them to continue the CPR, contact medical control, who's a physician, advise what they're doing. Here locally, what we have to, I'm getting off point a little bit, but here locally, we have to do about 30 minutes of CPR before we call a ER and get the physician on the radio, the phone, tell them what's going on, and then the physician either says continue CPR, give your medications, and transport to the hospital as fast as you can safely, or they'll call the code. In this particular case, that's not what happened. They came in, she wasn't doing CPR and had refused to do CPR. Everybody knew about this. So, unfortunately, this is a case where almost every single day, well, I'd say every day, everywhere across the country, this is just the norm. This is the norm at this type of facility. That's just what happens. They don't do CPR. They don't do any care. If the resident falls and they're bleeding or something, like I said in the post, they can give them a bandage and call 911. They can't pick them up. It's just the norm. But what I want you to think about is just because it's the norm doesn't make it right. Just because it's a norm, does that mean that it's right to do it? Just because that's the way we do things normally. Um, Historically, we've seen norms where everybody accepted how things were done, even though they were unethical, and they just went with it, and it's changed history. We've seen that. We've experienced that. So in this particular case, we have to think about, okay, it's the norm, but is it right? Is it ethical that this nurse is not performing any care? Now, did she violate her nursing oath by not performing care? Possibly, if we read that oath, we see that they're supposed to provide care to the patient, but they're also supposed to follow the rules. And somewhere in here, there's probably a doctor, a medical director that she works under, a physician who signed off on this, and the state signed off on it and said, hey, it's okay. But should she have done something to help this resident, even if she didn't think it would do any good? Are we in the position of being able to make those godlike decisions about life and death? Something to think about. Something to think about. So you're doing a great job with the discussions. I'm very pleased with the excellent work that you're putting into the discussions. You're working very hard. The initial posts are absolutely wonderful. Lots of extended, detailed, concise information. You're responding to your peers in there, replying to the posts that they shared. You're giving great examples, detailed thoughts. And the research that you're sharing, those examples, those citations, those references, are absolutely awesome, because you're going out onto the web and you're finding similar cases or information connected to this case. You're researching that and you're sharing that in the discussion. That's impressive work. And you should be proud of yourself, because I'm proud of you. You're doing a fantastic job with all the great work that you're doing in the discussions, talking about this Bayless case, this side, that side. Great discussions, great responses. Deep, concentrated, concise post. And I'm proud of you. I want you to take the weekend, pat yourself on the back, think about how good you did this week, how well you worked, how hard you worked. You gave it 110%, and I'm proud of you. And as I noted, I'm grading your last week's discussions today. Try to get those to you as soon as I can. Same thing with your written assignments. I'll try to get those back to you. I want you to take a look at that feedback I'm giving you. Try to give you some detailed feedback so that you understand the material, you understand the APA in writing. Try to help you with that. Look at those links I've shared in the announcements to help you. They're designed so that you can pull them up and you can learn more about what we're doing. APA is confusing sometimes. I understand that, and that's why I try to give you some good feedback, but it's important. We have to research, have to support our research. What we find out there, it helps us to support what we're saying, the examples, the thoughts that we have, so that we can say to the world, you know what, this isn't just my opinion. I have something out here in academia, out here in this peer-reviewed world that says I'm right, and here it is. And that's the importance of it. So you're getting practice with lots of stuff. You're learning the ethical issues, the historical issues with our legal system. You're learning the importance of research and APA and good writing, all the things that you're going to need as you go to work, whether you work in corrections or as a police officer and Homeland Security, emergency management, you become a teacher, an attorney, whatever. You need all that. It's important that you pay close attention, read that material, go the extra mile. Don't just put one or two sentences in there, but really go that extra mile and give it 110%. Give it 110%. Don't take your time. If you got 3 minutes to do a post, wait till you have 30 minutes to do a post, or 15 minutes or something, so that you can really do that research and offer that detailed writing, really read the material, really read the initial post, and really dig deep into your soul and share those thoughts in those discussions. I'm seeing that, and I'm proud of you. We have an awesome class. I am impressed with the class we've had. I've taught this class many, many times. I served as a subject matter expert in writing, rewriting this class, designing, worked with the design team. And I'm telling you, you guys and gals rock. You're knocking this out of the ballpark. I'm very proud, pardon me, very proud of all the excellent work you're doing. Thank you for going the extra mile. Thank you for jumping in those discussions. Thank you for producing those excellent papers. You're reading the material. You rock. Okay. Now, weekend's coming up. Do me a favor. Take a look at last week. Look at all your assignments. Look at the grade center. I want to make sure that I have all your assignments. If I don't have them, get them submitted so I can take a look, give you some grade. Even if you miss some points on the late policy, which I have to follow, it's important to get that in. Look at the comments. I need to know if you're seeing my comments. We're all learning Brightspace. It's all new to us. So I want to make sure that you're getting those comments and they're what you need. If you're not seeing them, if it's not what you need, I want you to let me know. Send me an email. Let me know. I want to make sure that you're good. I don't want you to leave with any questions. If you ever need my assistance, I want you to call me. Send me a text, send me an email. We can visit via Skype. I will do everything I can day or night, holidays, weekends to help you learn the material, learn APA, learn writing, everything I can to support you. Keep up the great work. Thank you for taking time to watch my video. And I want you to know, just like I said, I hope you're proud of yourself because I'm proud of you. I am very proud of all the excellent work you're doing. Keep rocking. Have a great weekend. If you need me, I want you to call me, okay?